Hey, what is up guys, Massive here, back to do another video, and today we are on Tournament Stadium playing versus Dimitri. I've got two games for you. This is going to be some really good action and high level gameplay. I played pretty well in this series. I had to wake up early to play Dimmy on a Saturday morning, but I felt pretty good in this series of games. Anyways, I'm going to be playing as the ZOCOM, Dimmy will be playing as the GDI, so ZOCOM versus GDI, exciting matchup. Personally, I love it a lot for all the units. The unit mixing that you can find in this matchup is pretty good, unlike Screwed Mirrors, which is just spam mech beads. Yeah, quite literally just spam mech beads. So, it's nice. And not mirrors, spam scorps, with a group of bikes to harass your opponent's harvesters. Yeah, GDI mirrors I like a lot. There is one spike on this map per player. Beautiful map, by the way. Tournament Stadium. I noticed in 1.03, well, saying this in 2025 is weird, but the official 1.03 patch that EA released it does nothing. Yes, it does nothing. Doesn't really change balance, doesn't fix anything in the game, but it was required to be named 1.03 to allow for Steam Workshop support, which only at this current time supports custom maps. Not even mob maps, just custom maps, and custom maps were already transferable in-game. The point of it, I'm not quite sure, but I hope it gets expanded upon. But at the same time, I'd hope at this point that they don't focus on Steam Workshop support and instead port some features and improvements found in Tiberium Wars patches that were never included in Kane's Wrath. The most notable of them being the interface lag improvement, because in patch 1.05 of Tiberium Wars, EA improved the netcode, they improved the interface lag. Playing games online, PvP, was a lot more enjoyable in Tiberium Wars due to this. Now, things have improved over time in Kane's Wrath. We've kind of fixed it in a way because everyone now has better internet. Fiber optic internet is now a thing. It never existed when Kane's Wrath was released, but it would still be amazing if EA included some of these dearly missed improvements in Kane's Wrath. That would be my biggest request to EA, to port over the engine improvement that made Tiberium Wars interface lag better. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into this game. Steam Workshop support though, quite a disappointment. Only custom maps, no mob maps. It's, yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, this is going to be a pretty standard game so far. Through refineries, lots of harvesters. I don't play Dimmy that much. He's one of the best players in the game. He beats just about anybody in the game. So I have my work cut out for me here. I don't play that much. I was excited to play though this morning because I did have I wanted my Kane's Wrath fix and I was unable to get it in about a week. Going for a backs on through refinery, just in case he's going for a double war factory pitbull spam. Now we see pitbulls, double war factory though, not quite sure, but the predator tanks and the rocket will be able to kill these pitbulls. Now the one thing I'm lacking is the mobility. I do not have the speed to catch up to those pitbulls, so he can flank me. And since I didn't garrison any of the buildings in this map in the beginning of the game, I'm not going to be able to garrison up those structures with missile squads to protect my base further. I'm going to use this predator tank, just do a bit of recon in the bottom in case he's got another group of pitbulls. This is an interesting game because I don't know what he will do. I'm unaware of his playstyle. He doesn't stream Kane's Wrath that much, so both of us are not quite sure what each other is going to do, which makes it quite authentic. Summoning in the ZOCOM Airborne, quite nice. ZOCOM do get cheaper infantry armor upgrades at $1,000. Only takes 30 seconds to research it, which is a notable difference over GDI, which need $500 more to get that same upgrade. Even though Tiberium Field Suits differs in name to composite armor, the faction, the upgrade that the GDI faction gets, it's the same thing. It is the same thing. You get the same improvements. The only difference is the Tiberium immunity granted by the Tiberium Field Suits. Going for those ZOCOM Orcas, and I'm splitting up my forces, trying the best I can actually to positioned some forces everywhere on the map to defend against those pibbles, but the hammerheads are going to complicate things a lot. The rocket squads I'm relying on is not going to be that great against those hammerheads, especially when they have AP ammo, as Dimitri has here. He focuses down all of my rocket squads, gets out of there without losing anything. There's a garrison structure there I can garrison up with these missiles. I'm going to be forced to do that. Building a GIAA, which isn't very good at all without the tungsten shells. I've got one or two rockets in that building, but I'm going to get overwhelmed here. Those pitbulls are moving in. There's nothing to defend. I've got a ZOCOM Orca. I'm hoping to land a lucky strike there with that ZOCOM Orca. Sadly, though, did not happen. I'm going to be forced to pull all of these harvesters off the line. He's found an opening in my base. I'm responding to this slowly with my army. My army has a severe speed disadvantage compared to his army. And whilst this is going on, I imagine he's taking the blue Tiberium field and probably setting up a third base. Now, I do have an army here, so if I clean up these pitbulls, I can push out on this map. I'm going to push into his field. I'm actually being allowed to take the blue Tiberium. That was unintentional, but I sent a harvester there, and it's going to get away with a full load of blue tips. So I'm lucky to have got that. Gonna get that to base. I'm gonna even assign some more harvesters to this blue Tiberium field. Those pitbulls are gonna be forced back to base. I'm going for slingshots now. Slingshots and ZOCOM Orcas. The ZOCOM Orcas I'm hoping to use against his... Well, if he goes for 2 MCVs, they're going to be helpful against sonic emitters, even DPSing down vital structures such as the refineries. I expect he'll be setting up a third base very soon. He's got that building garrisoned up. I pre-purchased the EMP grenades upgrade, so if there's a MAV, I'm going to be able to counter it with EMP grenades. Harvester at the blue Tiberium field. I'm going to take that one out there with my ZOCOM Orcas, and he's got this MCV. MAV comes out. Based on the positional audio, I'm guessing he built a MAV in the top of the map. I'm going to use it to Marvist my field. But I'm at his field with an MCV. I'm also dropping down barracks. One thing I have to be concerned about are those pitbulls. That's why I've assigned an army to defend them in the top of the map. 4 ZOCOM Orcas I'm going to use to reload in my, well, in his third. I'm going to contest it. I'm going to build that combat support airfield, which in this patch has the same health as a regular airfield. The only thing is you can't use the sonic repulsion field to increase its armor further. 4 barracks though, that is pretty insane, but I'm floating a lot of resources. Those pitbulls do have the mortar upgrade on them, but these 6 units I left behind are going to be able to stop him from taking out all my harvesters and leaving me dry at a tip. Now he's going to have income coming in since he has a MAV in the top of the map leeching my field. He's using that MAV to take Tiberium. Sonic emitters coming down. He's using those resources to fund a defense here. Firehawks are out. They take out all of my ZOCOM Orcas, so that's 6 granny units down the drain, but his MCV is going to be falling. There's nothing really he can do against that. I cleared that building out there with the Grenadier Squad and then garrisoned it subsequently with 3 missiles. I've got 2 armies now. One is going to push him off of this field. I'm going to set up a refinery on this field and start harvesting it because I need to get economy. Marv decides to, instead of leech my field, go towards my base, but I do have a barracks pre-placed. Do need to rebuild my command post to get some more grenadiers against it. That Marv needs to be EMP'd. I can't hope to destroy this without any form of EMP. Taking out my harvesters. Base here getting destroyed by this army of GDI forces. There's literally every type of unit you can imagine in my army. These are a Shatterer there on 1% health. I'm going to use that against... They're very good against structures. They deal a lot of DPS to structures and vehicles. I had Predator tanks, APCs, missiles, grenadiers, riflemen, ZOCOM Orcas. The only thing I didn't build in the tier 2 arsenal is the rig and hammerheads. I even built slingshots. I had to build slingshots against those hammerheads. He's still got hammerheads. Having the slingshots is going to make it harder for him to engage. Having that hit scan damage is going to make it so the hammerheads that the rockets don't finish off in one volley do get finished off by those slingshots, which don't deal much damage but can be useful to finish off the last remaining hit points on units such as hammerheads. Relaying some more harvests to this field. There's a Juggernaut husk there for me to capture if I so desire. He's going to respond to this army with a Pitbull army as well as Hammerheads. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough to fend this off. I realized the predicament I'm in here now, so I'm going to go back. I was looking at that gas ball structure. If I can get that, that'll be great, but I'm not going to have the time to. He's got 5-6 Hammerheads there. He's targeting down all my rocket squads. I'm going to lose a whole army for nothing. Hammerheads so lethal in a situation such as that. The Pitbulls don't really take any losses, so I'm in a big problem now since he's set up refineries on my third, and I have an expansion on my third, but I don't have an epic unit, and that is a big deal. No tier 3 for me either. He's got Hammerheads, which I haven't yet been able to counter. He's going to find that gas ball structure, which still has rockets inside. Sadly, I did not finish off that Hammerhead there. ZOCOM Walker, just one. I might have two, but they're not going to do too well. Never mind. One gets destroyed there. He's got those Firehawks still on the map. He can bomb structures, but if I'm paying attention, I can use the laser or the sonic propulsion field to keep those buildings alive against 4 Firehawks. Pitbulls are being so annoying. I don't know if I have anything this time to defend them off. I'm building watchtowers, which is about the best thing you can do at this point against Pitbulls. Instead of defend these Pitbulls off, I'm going to go on the offense rather than camp. Going to build up defenses in the meantime, just in case he decides not to defend his base off against this army. I've got slingshots mixed in with rocket squads. If I had not had these slingshots, then yeah, the Hammerheads could sweep in and kill everything. He could target down those grenades. I've got a lot of grenade squads moving forward. Marv needs to get EMP'd. It's dealing all damage to my army. And those Hammerheads are now taking damage from the slingshots, and the Pitbulls are coming in to respond. Orchestrite comes in. Marv taking damage. It has a lot of armor, a lot of health. Those Hammerheads are taking some damage there. He's targeting down the reinforcements, but his Marv is in a huge predicament. There's 1 or 2 slingshots which I'm using against those Hammerheads. They've done their job. They've paid for it with their lives, but they've done their job. They've thinned out the Hammerhead count significantly. Hammerhead's going down. He's on tier 2, so he's not going to be able to replenish that Marv. Nowadays, you need a tier 3 to build the Marv. That was one thing that was not a requirement in the vanilla patch. Missile squad ready for combat. A lot of missile squads coming out. Going to target down those Pitbulls in the very low health. They have not been dying in this game. I've seen infrastructure die, epic units die, behemoths, juggernauts die. Pitbulls though, not dying. He's microing those well, but I'm moving in now with this armor. I don't have much armor since I sold my war factory. I don't have anything aside from missile squads, but I need to capitalize on this opportunity I have here. He's bringing in resources. He's still in this game. Technically, there's an airfield back there somewhere because there's Hammerheads. He's targeting down my missiles. I've got reinforcements. 34 missile squads. More and more missiles are being made. There's lots of harvesters there for him, so if he goes in for a harvester crush, it's likely he'll be able to clean up a lot of this force, but he'll pay for it significantly. Whilst this is happening, I'm taking his second with my MCV. There's also a Juggernaut husk there for me to capture. It may have expired. It does blow up after 5 minutes. Dodging these Pitbull mortars, and there is the MCV of mine. Going to set up a refinery on his second. That field has regrown quite a bit, and that is going to be the end of the game. Dimmy calls the GG. That was it on Tournament Stadium. Interesting game in my opinion. It highlights 2 very different styles, 2 solid, viable strategies clashing there. Could have gone either way, especially with that Marv. With the Pitbulls in my base, I thought I was dead. He contained me for a long period of time, but I was able to get out and go on the counterattack, and that's going to be GG. So let's go into the game number 2 and see what that one's all about. Alright guys, we are back with game number 2, which takes us to Tournament Decision. No perk, I'll be playing as the Scrin faction in this game versus Dimmy once again. These are 2 games that I thought were noteworthy games and worthy of showing. So yeah, let's get this game underway. I'm going for a double portal opening. I think it's worth it on this map, just in case my opponent goes for a Shadow Team rush, which can deny you from taking a spike if it does happen. Losing an engineer this early on to a Shadow Team opening would be disastrous. On top of that, I'm going to follow up with some disintegrators. So this is a strategy that you guys can copy. It's a really good strategy on Tournament Decision if you are playing as a Scrin or Reaper 17. You don't want to do this as Traveler because the disintegrators of the Traveler 59 faction come out slower than the Reaper and Scrin ones. They have a slower movement speed until you get the Advanced Articulator upgrade. So I built 4 descents from each of the portals, and I'm going to aim to destroy the 2 Tiberium spikes of my opponent. A little bit delayed on capturing my spike there, but it's not going to be a big deal. I don't know exactly what faction he's at the moment, but this is going to work against pretty much every faction, aside from if he's going for a Shadow Team Rush, which would suck. But that's a low probability in this matchup here, since he isn't playing Nod specifically. He picked random, and even if he is Nod, it's unlikely he'll do a Shadow Team Rush every game on this map. But there is some riflemen to defend this one group of the distance of. One important fact that you guys need to consider is that descents have a faster movement speed compared to riflemen's. So you can run away from them. If you feel like you can't engage enemy rifles or enemy militants, just pull back. Your descents are faster, they can retreat. And that's what I've done here. I've pulled them back. I see he's going to defend that spike of his. I got 1 spike, and I forced out a lot of defense from him. He's got a watchtower, probably powered that one down. To see if I can force another one, I'm going to group the 4 descents I have in the bottom with the ones I have in his base currently. If I have 8 descents together, that's going to be way more effective. And since we know he's defending predominantly with rifleman squads, I'm going to build a gunwalker and rally that to his base. That way I can kill the riflemen, and maybe then I'll have a shot at killing the spike, especially with the DPS of all of these descents combined. Working on my 3rd ref meanwhile. 4 harvesters currently. He's got that garrison in the middle, so he's going to be able to he's going to see what's coming. But even if he sees what's coming, it's going to be difficult for him to hold this off. A lot of people have difficulty in R22 as Scrin against Steel Talons. It is understandable. Mao tanks are insane, especially with that adaptive armor and railgun accelerator. Not to mention, they also get EMP grenades in 1.02 plus. It is no longer called 1.02 plus nowadays. This is technically R22. So I'm moving in to this Tiberium spike. I'm going to try and kill it, but it's going to be awkward now, seeing that he has a Wolverine out, which is Steel Talon's anti-infantry unit of choice. They can go for hammerheads, but it's a choice mostly between hammerheads and Wolverines. Wolverines have more damage, but they are pretty slow. But damage-wise, they deal the most. They're a bit of a glass cannon, as you see there. That Wolverine got cleaned up pretty quickly. Gonna have my nerf center here to use to spawn in a lightning spike against this Wolverine. Now, Wolverines, as far as I'm aware, don't have a directional armor. If they do, that's one thing I could certainly change in the next update. Dimmy talks of Wolverines being a little bit weak, so it wouldn't surprise me if they have directional armor. I'm going to see if I can change that, if so. Not being able to reverse move and shoot and move is already a big deal for the Wolverine. Punishing it more with directional armor would be a bigger disadvantage, a bigger handicap for the Wolverine. So yeah, he's going to respond to this with even more Wolverines. I'm going to camp this airfield here in case he goes for Firehawks. You see he probably has the Stratofighter booster model on his airfield. I'm going to see if I can destroy that one. I'm going for Storm Riders. That defensive tower I was able to grab whilst distracting him with the synths. I built a portal and I was able to capture those 2 defensive towers, killing that Titan there. So that 1 NG paid off already. Those are very effective, especially if I can keep them alive. He's going to have to deal with it with a lot of Titans. Though Titans may not be what he needs soon, since I'm building Storm Riders and these may not have been scouted. But Firehawks is generally the unit you see against Scrin. They're going to try and kill your tier 3, but where's my tier 3? I don't have any. I'm going for Storm Rider. I'm going for dev tanks. I've got 2 dev tanks. I didn't make too many. These are mostly to clean up the Wolverines that he's building, as well as the odd Titan, but the Titan killing is going to be done mostly by these Storm Riders. Using a line formation here with the Storm Riders just so they don't take splash damage. The way that Storm Riders die usually is they all stack up and the Firehawks kill like 3 or 4 at a time, so make sure you use the line formation as I did there to avoid losing too many of them. Then he's only going to kill 1 per Firehawk, at best, right? because the 2 Firehawks he has may just choose to attack the same Storm Rider, in which case results may vary. You may get a really good trade against the Firehawks. So yeah, 8 Storm Riders against 2 Firehawks. I lost 2 of my Storm Riders, but at the same time, I cleaned up his Firehawks, and I still maintain air control, which is a big deal against Steel Talons. If he wants to go back for more Hawks, if he wants to contest the skies further, he's going to be sacrificing his ground-based army and what he can use to counter my ground units. Going for a stasis chamber, and I have 2 potential tech routes here. I can go for tripods, tech up to tier 3, go for my hexapod, or instead I can go for my stasis chamber and get shock troopers out. Now in this community patch, shock troopers are a lot more effective because they did receive a 33% increase to their health. Now that isn't enough against AP ammo, hammerheads and wolverines, sure it's not, but they're going to make them a little bit more tanky, and it's not going to be a massacre, let's just say, if they go for any sort of AP ammo unit. It's going to be a bit more balanced. We were just 1 Wolverine there. It's nowhere near enough to contest this transition of shock troopers. So I'm going to move forward here. I've got dev tanks, lots of them I used, and I charged them up. I'm screened, so I can get the shields on my units, but I don't have enough shield units to really benefit from that $2,000 upgrade. Shock troopers moving forward. I used those Storm Riders, clean up the Wolverines that he had, and now the shocks are moving forward, tanking shots from those Mav tanks. We use the stasis shield here to trap these units, because I need to make use of this transition as much as I can. I'm going to drop a refinery of my expansion as quick as possible. Dev tanks all charged up with that green Tiberium. If I had the Icon Seed available here, I'd use it to charge my dev tanks further. It'd be worth it, but yeah. Lots of dev tanks, lots of shock troopers ready to engage those Mav tanks once they come out. The stasis shield, gunwalkers targeting down those riflemen, Storm Riders flying overhead, taking out the Wolverines. Look at those green charged dev tank shots and how much damage they deal to mammoth tanks. Crazy amount. Adaptive armor being used on those mammoths is going to make them pretty tough to destroy. They get a 60% increase to their armor. So yeah, that's going to reduce incoming damage by 60%, which is significant. It does reduce the rate of fire, but not substantially. That can be offset by a railgun accelerator, which doubles the rate of fire. If I do place down my tier 3, and this tier 2 combination is working out relatively well for me. The shock troopers, the dev tanks, the Storm Riders, and the gunwalkers all synergizing against one another. He had also a nice unit mix as well, with those Firehawks flying overhead, as well as the Mammoth tanks and Wolverines, Firehawks to take out my Storm Riders. So we traded. I lost a lot of my units. I was forced to use my stasis shield, so no longer am I going to have that very powerful support power available to me. I'm sending an outpost to the top of the map, but little did I realize I actually built a secondary drone ship. I forgot all about that. It must have been an idea I had at one point, but I changed my mind. Dev tanks moving into this expansion, but without charge. Dev tanks deal little damage, but they can still shoot and move. So they're going to do a run by on those harvesters, do some damage. When the harvesters are docking in the ref, you can target them over the refinery, as you see. Hexapod is on its way. I'm making tripods. I could sell some of these refineries off. You get $700 per refinery sold. So yeah, you can recoup some money at this stage in time if you need it, just by selling some of those buildings off that are quite redundant. I'm going to put assimilators in my hex because I don't fancy building corruptors. I am a fan of the engineer hexapod. The repair rate is more in R22. Now the hexapod does lose a lot of its lame features that it had in R22, but the garrisons are better. As Reaper 17, if you use the Ravager garrison and upgrade the blue shards, you get blue shard Ravager hard points on your hexapod, which increases the damage by a significant amount. Helps them a lot in those Traveler mirrors against Traveler 59, where they have little to counter mind control. But their hexapod and their armor is for sure the equalizer.
Construction complete.
I'm going to place the refinery down, or try to, rather than blocking me. Mammoth tanks use the railgun accelerant. You can see the effects on those mammoths to indicate that they are indeed affected by railgun accelerator. That's visually represented to the player. This expert will be destroyed. I was hoping not to use the phase field. I also have a mastermind in my base, so a little bit lazy there, but I can just rebuild it if I want. Only will take 50 seconds to get it back out. And I now realize I have a mastermind. I'm going to get down a second ref on this field and bring in resources. Hexapod doesn't generate as much resources as it once did. It used to be 15% for every unit killed, but now it will only recycle 10% of any units that are killed around it. I do capture the Mammoth tank, and with that, Dimmy decides to throw it in the tower, and that's going to be GG. So I decided to showcase this game as well, just to highlight the effectiveness of tier 2 unit compositions with the Storm Riders, the Devour tanks, the Gunwalkers, all working together. The Shock Troopers as well. It's nice to see those make an appearance in modern times. Before, they were utterly useless, and they were more useless against nods since the Cloaking Field killed them. That no longer happens. It was a bit of a bug. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. Before I go, I'd like to thank all my Patreon members for supporting me and my channel, and also for keeping me motivated to do the patches and to fix the patches due to EA suddenly having a renewed interest in patches. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to do more updates. I'm encouraging CC Hyper to do more, because I think it would benefit Kane's Wrath and Command & Conquer in the long term. It would allow Kane's Wrath in particular to grow more. So this is it from me, Master Leaf, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.